Welcome to part 2 of our webinar, created in order to familiarize the listener with the latest update of CSA W47.1 Certification of Companies for Fusion Welding of Steel. We now continue with our summary and review of the major changes contained in CSA W47.1 Update 7. Introduction to Elementary Quality Requirements, Clauses 5.6 to 5.11. Update 7 has introduced elementary quality requirements for the certification of companies for fusion welding of steel. The requirements are intended to add value for certified companies by creating provisions for quality controls over the welding-related processes. These controls will help companies meet internal and external customer requirements. The majority of companies likely already have systems in place to address the 6 areas specified by Update 7. Therefore, the transition for these clients should be relatively straightforward. It should be noted that these new requirements do not require companies to create a quality management system like ISO 9001, requiring formal procedures and/or documentation. The standard does not require creation of forms or records by the certified company. Records are only mandatory if deemed as required by the certified client or their customers. Included in Update 7 is the addition of Annex H, which is an informative and non-mandatory commentary on how a company may wish to address the new requirements within their organization. Review of welding-related requirements and technical review. The scope of the requirements of Clause 5.6 is limited to the welding-related aspects of contracts, and the overall intent is to ensure that the company properly understands the technical requirements and that the product can be manufactured in accordance with the contract. The company is expected to demonstrate that each welding-related requirement of the contract has been fully covered. A review of approved welding procedure data sheets and welding procedure specifications, equipment, qualified welders, and delivery dates are all examples of the due diligence a company can perform to ensure it's able to meet the contract requirements. Clause 5.6 states, the company shall review the contractual requirements related to welding together with any in-house data or technical data provided by the purchaser. The company shall establish that all information necessary to carry out the welding manufacturing operations is complete and available prior to the commencement of the work. The company shall affirm its capability to meet all welding-related requirements and shall ensure adequate planning of all welding-related activities. Clause 5.6 further states, the purpose of the review of requirements by the company is to verify that the scope of work is within its capability. That includes sufficient resources that are available to meet delivery schedules and that documentation is clear and unambiguous. When using the term capability in relation to the previous requirements, capability includes A, the ability to provide the agreed upon welding inspection, and B, the availability of approved welding procedure specifications, welding procedure data sheets, qualified personnel, and appropriate welding and associated equipment. Lastly, Clause 5.6 states, the company shall ensure that any variations between the contract and any previous quotation related to welding are identified and that the purchaser is notified of any program, cost, or engineering changes that could result. The requirements of Clause 5.6 will enable companies to enhance their review process covering all components of welding-related aspects of the contract, which will translate into savings, confidence, and reliability. It should be noted that ISO companies may already have a system in place. Documentation is not necessary. The company is only required to demonstrate their review process. NCRs are not issued if delivery dates on contracts are not met. Equipment. Clause 5.7 states, welding equipment shall be available and maintained in proper working order. The focus of this clause is on welding equipment only. Welding equipment that is properly maintained will reduce the possibility of breakdowns, minimizing unscheduled repairs, falling behind on schedules, and other negative effects, ultimately saving time and money. It should be noted that ISO companies may already have a system in place. Documentation is not necessary. The company is only required to demonstrate their process. Maintenance regimes may and will vary by company. The company may choose to maintain a list of key welding equipment. The equipment should be monitored to ensure that it remains capable of manufacturing the products concerned. The company may implement a system for the identification, control, maintenance, and calibration of their welding equipment, including the designation of individuals responsible for these activities and measures to prevent the use of defective equipment during production. Although documentation is not necessary, the following are examples of documents that can be considered in ensuring the requirements applicable to equipment are met. Equipment maintenance schedules, essential equipment lists, test reports on new equipment, and equipment maintenance records. Guidance on how a company may wish to address this requirement is provided in Annex H. Inspection and testing. Clause 5.8 states, inspection and testing shall be carried out as specified and agreed upon. Understanding established requirements for inspection and testing will help organizations ensure all required inspections are carried out, prevent nonconformities, and make sure any issues are found in-house prior to release of product. It should be noted that ISO companies may already have a system in place. Records are not required, applicable only as specified and agreed upon with their customers. Examples of how inspection requirements may be defined are as follows. Contractually, by internal specifications or by relevant codes and standards. Inspection and testing may be conducted internally by the company or by subcontractors depending on what was agreed upon. Examples of documents that can be considered in ensuring that requirements for inspection and testing are met: signed travelers or shipping documents, inspection and test plans, inspection procedures, dimensional reports, inspection reports, and records of repairs. Guidance on how a company may wish to address this requirement is provided in Annex H. Nonconformance and corrective actions. Clause 5.9 states, control shall be implemented to ensure that items or activities that do not conform to specified requirements are identified to prevent inadvertent acceptance, and conditions that could adversely affect the quality of the welded construction are promptly identified and corrected. This requirement will help organizations to ensure errors are not repeated, ensuring the customer receives a quality product. This saves time, money, and reputation. Again, it should be noted that ISO companies may already have a system in place. Records are not required. The company should demonstrate their measures of control. Guidance on how a company may wish to address this requirement is provided in Annex H. Identification and traceability. Clause 5.10 states, if required, identification and traceability shall be maintained throughout the manufacturing process. This requirement helps to troubleshoot product and process problems, resolve customer complaints, and enables continual improvement of product and processes. It should be noted that this clause is applicable only if required by the certified company's own internal processes or their customers. ISO companies may already have a system in place. Records may not be required. The company needs to demonstrate how they manage and maintain traceability. Examples of how a company may choose to document the identification and traceability can include production plans, mapping of weld locations in construction, weld consumable data such as designation, trade name, and company of the consumable, parent material type, location of repairs, traceability of welders and welding operators to specific welds, and traceability of procedures used for specific welds. Again, guidance on how a company may wish to address this requirement is provided in Annex H. Quality records. Clause 5.11 states, quality records shall be maintained for a minimum of 5 years in the absence of any other specified requirements. Records are useful for determining the causes of problems, for analysis of trends, and for improvement of the manufacturer's operations. ISO companies may already have a system in place. If a company is elected to create documents and records to meet the requirements of clauses 5.6 through 5.10, then this clause is applicable. The following are examples of documents that can be considered in ensuring that requirements for quality records are met: contract and technical review documents, equipment records, inspection records, non-conformance records, and identification and traceability records. Guidance on how a company may wish to address this requirement is provided in Annex H. Transition to new requirements of Update 7. The CWB Group will begin to fully use this new standard effective September 1st, 2015. Therefore, starting September 1st, audits will be conducted to Update 7. All new requirements of Update 7 will receive opportunities for improvement if not in compliance. Existing requirements will receive NCRs if not in compliance. The CWB Group will begin to certify new clients to Update 7. Audit activities and documents issued will be carried out in accordance with Update 7. New and applicant clients must meet all requirements of Update 7 to achieve certification after September 1st, 2015. After 1 year, on September 1st, 2016, the CWB Group will continue performing audits to CSA W47.1 Update 7, but will begin to issue NCRs to all clients not meeting the new requirements of Update 7. By April 1st, 2017, all companies will have been audited to the requirements of Update 7 and therefore have transitioned to the new requirements or have chosen decertification if unable to meet the new requirements. How to acquire a copy of Update 7. If you currently do not have a complete copy of CSA W47.1-2009, you can purchase a copy which will include Update 7 by visiting www.cwbgroup.org and clicking on Shop, or by calling 1-800-844-6790. If you currently have a copy of CSA W47.1-2009 and would simply like to receive the latest update, being Update 7, you can visit shop.csa.ca and click CSA Update Service. You will need your list ID code available on the CSA Update Service page near the front of your standard. If you have any questions about CSA welding standards such as CSA 47.1, please contact the CWB Office of Public Safety at www.weldquality.org or 1-800-844-6790. You can also email CSA directly at techsupport@csagroup.org. The CWB is committed to providing guidance and support to their clients in making the transition to the new requirements as smooth as possible. Should you have any questions, please contact your assigned certification representative or call the CWB at 1-800-844-6790. The CWB Group is an industry-supported private sector organization providing welding certification, management systems registration, and training services. The CWB Group is composed in part of the following organizations: CWB, Canadian Welding Bureau; Quasar, Management Systems Registration; CWBI, the CWB Institute; CWA, the Canadian Welding Association. This concludes the second part of our webinar created by the CWB Group in order to familiarize the listener with the latest update of CSA W47.1, Certification of Companies for Fusion Welding of Steel. Thank you for listening, and we hope you will contact us if any further clarifications are required in order to maximize the benefits to your company.